call to service, the heart and the core of the ministry and mission of Jesus, and therefore the heart and the core of the Holy Eucharist. As I was on my way home from Bemidji, it was around supper time. So I decided to stop at the Sportsman's Cafe in Deer River. Friends, it doesn't get any more local than the Sportsman's Cafe in Deer River. And as I walked in, there was a smattering of kind of more elderly men, some who looked like they were sportsmen. Most of them looked like they were retired farmers. So I'm eating supper at the counter, and all of a sudden, 2 tables away, I hear someone say, "Yeah, I was at this conference over in Bemidji." He said it was really interesting. He said they had some really good talks. The people were so nice. And on that particular night, he said, I was upstairs. There was a long line of people waiting to talk to the priests. I couldn't believe they got through that whole line. And so, towards the end of the supper, I got up and went over to the table and I said, I couldn't help hearing you talk about that conference. I was there. He said, I thought I recognized you from that conference. And he said, I was one of the security guards. I was one of the security guards. And as I was getting into my car to make it back to Duluth, I couldn't help but think that for that particular Congress, the number of men and women and young adults who were servants to us, working behind the scenes, will never be recognized. And the minute that we walk out the door, are going to be forgotten. And yet what they were doing at that Congress for us should speak to inspire us to be like them in all ways, because in that moment in time, they are Christ for us in that service. And for those of us who have continued on beyond the conference, the Congress, I'm so aware of all of the people that have been working behind the scenes, the people that have gotten all of these liturgies ready, the people who prepared the food and the dessert when we stopped to eat, the people who have been working relentlessly to put together programs and to provide everything that we would need along the way so far. And yet as they have prepared all of those things along the way, probably you can name one person. And even though they did so much for us, they were never thanked for that. And when we moved on to the next part of the pilgrimage, we already forgot them. Even though their service to us is an inspiration to us, because in that moment, all of those people who have been behind the scenes, have been serving us all along the way, all of those people have been an expression of Jesus Christ, an embodiment of Jesus Christ to us. And they didn't want to be recognized. They don't want to be honored. Everything they are doing is for the honor and the glory of God. Now, in the gospel reading today, we hear of the shadow side of serving others. We have the disciples of Jesus, the apostles of Jesus, and they're upset. They say, Jesus, there are other people out there using your name, and they're doing incredible things. They're out there using your name and curing people and proclaiming the gospel. And even though they're doing incredible things, they shouldn't be doing that because they're not one of us. They're not one of us. They're not one of your followers, as we are. And what's happening here, even though they are out there serving the name of Jesus Christ in a powerful kind of way, what's upsetting the disciples is that if they're out there doing that, then we're not going to get credit for being a follower of Jesus. That when people are amazed by the things that we're doing in the name of Jesus and serving other people by healing them, miraculously healings that are happening, that we want to be known as the followers of Jesus. We want to be known as the apostles and the disciples that are doing that, so they might know how great we are. The shadow side of serving others is to serve others with one intent, and it's not for the honor and glory of God, but it's for my honor and my glory. That's the shadow side of service. And so as we are continuing the pilgrimage here, I would like to address the pilgrims that will be a part of that along the way until we get to Indianapolis. I'm going to challenge you that as you move on from one holy hour to the next, that you will spend the first part of that holy hour remembering and thinking of the people of the site that you just left who were there being a servant to you. To think of the people that were behind the scenes. You will never know their names. You may not even know that they were there, but they were. But do not forget them when you move on to the next holy hour. Remember them and lift them up in your prayers in a very powerful and real kind of way. And when you are doing that, you'll not only remember how they helped you, how they inspired you in your own call to service, but how they were Jesus Christ to you. And how they gave you an example to be the very presence of Jesus Christ to others in service. The same is true for all of us here. We may not be continuing the pilgrimage to Indianapolis, walking every step of the way, but we're continuing the pilgrimage of life. And as we continue that pilgrimage of life, I would challenge you, as I am challenging myself, I would challenge you at the end of every day to think upon the events and people and experiences that have filled up that day, and to be mindful of someone who is there serving you, that you probably didn't even know they were there. You certainly don't know their name. And as you moved on, you probably forgot whatever it is that they did for you. Do not forget them. Because when we remember the many ways that we have been served behind the scenes, then not only were we helped in that moment, but by those people, we are inspired to be like them. In other words, we want to be like Jesus Christ, as they have been Christ to us, so that we may be that very presence of Jesus to others in service. Because as we walk along the way, remember, Jesus said to us, we did not come into this world to be served, but to serve. The greatest among you will be the person behind the scene whose name you never knew, that was there to help you and wasn't looking for any credit or glory. They just wanted to give God the glory and the honor of the privilege of having been a servant to you, having been the very presence of Jesus Christ, as real as in adoration, as real as in the Eucharist. That's how real Jesus Christ is present in the moment of any act of serving another. Always in honor and glory of God. Will you let me be your servant? Let me be as Christ to you. Pray that I may have the grace to let you be my servant too. We are pilgrims on a journey. We are servants on the road. We are here to help each other walk the mile and bear